The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its dark metal hull absorbed sunlight like a shadow against the stars, stretching nearly 10 miles from end to end. Within hours, every telescope on Earth pointed toward it, and every military base went into high alert. Admiral James Parker stood at the United Nations emergency meeting, his weathered hands gripping the podium as he addressed the gathered world leaders. At 62, he had spent his entire life preparing for this moment, though few knew it. The secret space defense program he led had always known this day would come. "They call themselves the NIGMA Empire," Parker announced, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Their message was clear. They see us as a primitive species in need of guidance and protection. The chamber erupted in murmurs and worried whispers. On the massive screen behind him, images from the first transmission played. The alien ambassador, a tall being with metallic skin and glowing eyes, spoke of peace while its words dripped with superiority. "Your species shows promise," the alien had said, "but you remain bound to primitive energy sources and crude weapons. The NIGMA Empire offers you protection and advancement in exchange for reasonable access to your resources and partial governance rights." Parker waited for the whispers to die down before continuing. "What they don't know is that we're not as primitive as they think. Project Watchman has been active since 1962. We've been preparing, learning, and building. Our public technology is just a cover." He pressed a button, and new images appeared on the screen. Hidden bases under the ocean floor, weapon systems disguised as satellite arrays, energy shields tested in secret facilities deep within mountains. "But here's what I suggest. We let them think they're right about us." The Chinese president leaned forward. "You want us to play weak?" "Exactly." Parker nodded. "They've made the oldest mistake in the book, underestimating their opponent. Let's use that." In orbit, the NIGMA ship's sensors continued their scan of Earth. Inside, Commander Axel of the Imperial Fleet studied the readings with growing satisfaction. These humans still fought with projectile weapons and traveled in combustion engines. Their most advanced computers were laughably simple compared to NIGMA technology. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "the humans request a formal meeting to discuss our terms." "They seem eager." Axel's metallic lips curved into what passed for a smile in his species. "Of course they are. They know they can't resist us. Prepare my shuttle. I will meet their leaders personally." The meeting took place in Geneva, in a grand hall decorated with Earth's flags. Admiral Parker led the human delegation, accompanied by military leaders and scientists from various nations. They had deliberately dressed in what the NIGMA would consider primitive formal wear, suits and uniforms with physical medals, rather than the energy displays the aliens preferred. Commander Axel strode in, flanked by guards in advanced combat suits that gleamed with barely contained energy. He towered over the humans, his metallic skin reflecting the room's lights. "We are pleased you understand your situation," Axel began, his translator converting his words to Earth's languages. "The NIGMA Empire has guided many primitive species to greatness. Your world will prosper under our protection." Parker stepped forward, his old military uniform a stark contrast to the aliens' advanced gear. "We appreciate your generous offer," he said carefully, "but I feel I should warn you. Humans don't react well to being controlled. History has taught us that." Axel made a sound that might have been a laugh. "History? Your history is but a blink compared to our empire. What could you possibly teach us about power?" "That's not what I meant." Parker's eyes held a warning that Axel missed completely. "I'm trying to tell you that humans are dangerous when cornered. We're unpredictable. We adapt. We." "You are children," Axel cut him off. "Children playing with simple toys. The NIGMA Empire has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Your warnings are noted but unnecessary. Now, shall we discuss the terms of your protection?" Parker fell silent, exchanging glances with the other human leaders. They had tried to warn them, Whatever happened next would be on the NIGMA Empire's head. The game had begun, and only one side knew the true rules. 3 days after the first meeting, the NIGMA Empire showed their true colors. Their massive ship moved into position above the moon, where humans had recently established their first permanent base. The base was empty, evacuated just hours before, though the aliens didn't know that. Commander Axel's hologram appeared on every screen and device on Earth. His metallic face showed no emotion as he delivered his message. "People of Earth," he began, his voice translated into all major languages simultaneously. "The NIGMA Empire has given you a chance to join us peacefully. Your leader's reluctance to accept our generous terms is disappointing." In the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Lisa Stone watched the transmission with narrowed eyes. Around her, the real heart of Earth's defense force hummed with activity. Screens showed the positions of hidden weapon platforms, cloaked satellites, and submarine bases that the aliens hadn't detected. "A demonstration seems necessary," Axel continued. "Observe." A beam of intense blue light shot from the NIGMA ship, striking the moon base. The explosion was visible from Earth, a bright flash followed by a spreading cloud of debris. Gasps and cries of fear echoed across the planet as millions watched. "This was merely a fraction of our power," Axel declared. "You have 24 hours to submit to NIGMA authority, or we will begin targeting your military installations. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. In the command center, Commander Stone turned to Admiral Parker. "They took the bait," she said with a grim smile. Parker nodded. "They destroyed exactly what we wanted them to see, an empty base full of outdated technology and false data cores. Did we get good readings on their weapon?" "Better than good." Stone pulled up detailed scans on the main screen. "The energy beam's signature matches our predictions. Our shields should hold against it. And they have no idea." Parker allowed himself a small smile. "Activate Protocol Thunder. It's time to show them humanity isn't as helpless as they think." Around the world, hidden facilities rumbled to life. In deep ocean trenches, massive generators powered up. Inside hollow mountains, ancient glaciers concealed launch bays. Beneath the Sahara Desert, a network of underground factories began producing weapons that no primitive species should have possessed. On the NIGMA ship, Commander Axel received reports of increased activity on Earth. "Just their primitive military scrambling in fear," he told his officers. "Their weapons cannot harm our ships. Prepare targeting solutions for their major military bases. When the deadline expires, we will show them the price of defiance." But in London, Paris, Beijing, Moscow, Washington, and 100 other cities, people weren't panicking. Instead, they were gathering in the streets, their faces showing determination rather than fear. Inside a hidden facility beneath the Australian outback, Dr. Thomas Walker worked with his team to finish programming the quantum defense grid. The technology had existed for decades, developed in secret after studying crashed alien ships from the past century. Every UFO sighting, every conspiracy theory about hidden bases, most had been true, carefully managed to seem unbelievable. "The NIGMA Empire thinks they're our first contact with alien life," Walker told his assistant as they worked. "That's the difference between us and them. They assume, we prepare." 23 hours after the ultimatum, Admiral Parker sent Earth's response, a simple text message, transmitted on the same frequencies the NIGMA used. "We try to warn you. Earth does not submit to threats. You destroyed an empty base and think us cowed. You scan our cities but miss our strength. You see our public face but not our hidden teeth. Your 24 hours are not yet up, but our answer will never change. Humanity does not surrender. Ever." Commander Axel read the message with disbelief, then anger. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "Target their largest military installations. Show them what happens to primitives who defy the NIGMA Empire." As the alien ships moved into attack position, Commander Stone looked at her watch and smiled. "And now," she whispered, "they learn why you should never corner a human." The NIGMA ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like angry meteors, their weapons charged and ready. Commander Axel watched from orbit, expecting to see explosions as his fleet targeted Earth's major military bases. Instead, he saw something impossible. The energy beams struck invisible barriers above their targets, spreading out like water on glass. In the Pentagon's war room, Colonel Marcus Reed watched the shields hold firm. "Looks like those reverse-engineered alien shields work better than the originals," he said with a grin. Axel's metallic face showed the first signs of concern. "Impossible," he muttered. "They're primitives. They can't have shield technology." He turned to his weapons officer. "Increase power to maximum." The NIGMA ships fired again, their weapons now glowing white-hot with energy. The shields above Earth's bases flickered but held. Then, something began rising from the oceans. Massive platforms emerged from the waves, water cascading off their surfaces. Hidden doors in mountains slid open, revealing advanced fighter craft that definitely weren't on any of NIGMA's scans. From the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and the Antarctic ice, humanity's hidden arsenal emerged. "Still think we're primitive?" Colonel Reed's voice transmitted to every NIGMA ship. "Let us show you what humans can do when we're cornered." Earth's defense platforms opened fire. Instead of the crude missiles the NIGMA expected, they launched swarms of quantum-locked drones. The tiny machines phased through the NIGMA's energy shields as if they weren't there, attaching to their hulls and beginning to eat through the metal. "What is this technology?" Axel demanded as reports of failing systems flooded in. "Where did they get it?" In a hidden bunker, Dr. Walker monitored the drone's performance. "We got it from the 7 alien ships that crashed here over the last century," he said, even though the NIGMA couldn't hear him. "We learned from each one, adapted, improved. That's what humans do." The NIGMA fleet scrambled to respond, but Earth's attack came from too many directions. Colonel Reed's fighters emerged from their mountain bases, using tactics no spacefaring race would expect. They flew low, hugging the ground, using Earth's magnetic field to hide their signatures. When they struck from below, where the NIGMA ship's shields were weakest. "Pull back," Axel ordered as another ship reported critical damage. "Regroup in high orbit." But retreating proved just as dangerous. Hidden satellites activated, creating a web of gravitational distortions that played havoc with the NIGMA's engines. Ships trying to escape found themselves pulled off course, their advanced navigation systems confused by technology they'd never encountered. In Australia, Dr. Walker's team activated their quantum defense grid. Space itself seemed to twist around the NIGMA fleet, trapping them in a field of distorted physics that their sensors couldn't understand. "How?" Axel demanded, watching his mighty fleet flounder against what he'd thought was a primitive world. "How did they hide all this?" The answer came from Admiral Parker, transmitted on all frequencies. "We've had decades to prepare. Every UFO sighting we dismissed, every conspiracy theory we denied, every weather balloon that crashed. They taught us about what's out there. We learned from each encounter. We adapted your technologies, improved them, combined them with human ingenuity." Colonel Reed's voice followed. "And you want to know the best part? This isn't even our full strength. We're still holding back, giving you a chance to retreat, to realize your mistake. Because unlike you, we don't want to destroy our enemies. We just want to be left alone." As if to prove his point, one of Reed's fighters disabled a NIGMA ship without destroying it, using an electromagnetic pulse that shut down its systems without harming the crew. In orbit, Commander Axel watched his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by a species he dismissed as primitive. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something new: fear. The first strike was over in less than an hour. 6 NIGMA ships disabled, 3 retreating with heavy damage, and not a single human base destroyed. And as Axel would soon learn, this was only the beginning of humanity's surprises. The NIGMA Empire wasn't used to losing. After their initial defeat, they returned with their full might, a fleet of 300 ships that darkened Earth's skies. Commander Axel had been replaced by High Admiral Rex, known across the galaxy for crushing rebellions. No more games, Rex announced to Earth's leaders. No more playing with primitive weapons. We will burn your atmosphere away if we must. In the deep underground lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Thomas Walker watched the transmission and smiled. They still think we're using weapons, he said to his team. They haven't figured it out yet. Figured what out, sir? Asked one of his younger assistants. That we turned their everyday technology against them. Walker walked over to a simple glass of water sitting on his desk. Look at this, just water. But add our nanites. He dropped a single clear drop into the glass, and the water began to glow softly. Now it can eat through their hull metal like acid. Above the Earth, the NIGMA fleet prepared for their overwhelming attack. Their sensors watched for the same weapons Earth had used before. The quantum lock drones, the gravity distortion fields, the electromagnetic pulses. They were ready for all of it. They weren't ready for the rain. Sir, one of Rex's officers reported, Earth's weather patterns are changing rapidly. Rex dismissed the concern. Their primitive atmosphere is irrelevant to our attack. But Dr. Walker had spent decades studying how to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. The rain that began falling wasn't just water. Each drop contained programmed nanites that could identify NIGMA hull material. Everywhere the rain touched their ships, microscopic machines began their work. Warning: computer systems across the NIGMA fleet blared. Hull integrity compromising. Unknown contaminant detected. In the Sahara Desert, another of humanity's hidden weapons activated. The sand itself rose in great clouds, carried by controlled wind patterns. Each grain had been treated with a compound that disrupted the NIGMA's advanced sensors. Their mighty fleet found itself flying blind. These are tricks. Rex raged as his ships began reporting failures. Primitive deceptions. Admiral Parker's voice came over their comms. No, this is human ingenuity. We took your most basic technologies and found ways to use them that you never imagined. Did you think we spent the last century just hiding? We were learning, adapting, preparing. The NIGMA fleet tried to retreat to higher orbit, but they found something waiting for them there too. The space junk that orbited Earth, satellites, old rocket parts, debris, suddenly moved with purpose. Each piece had been secretly replaced with dormant weapons platforms over the years. You see, Dr. Walker's voice joined the transmission. Humans have always been good at hiding things in plain sight. Those primitive communications satellites you scanned, weapon platforms, that space debris you ignored, automated defense systems. Even the rust on your ships isn't really rust. It's our nanites slowly taking your fleet apart. Rex watched in horror as his mighty armada began to crumble. Ships reported their hulls dissolving, their weapons systems failing, their advanced AI becoming confused and unreliable. Everything they had dismissed as primitive or irrelevant was being used against them. Your mistake, Admiral Parker said, was thinking that advanced technology has to look advanced. Humans learned long ago that the best weapons are the ones your enemy doesn't recognize as weapons. In his lab, Dr. Walker picked up the glass of glowing water. Look at your own technology, magnified and twisted by human creativity. We didn't just copy your advancements, we reimagined them. That's what makes humans different. We don't just use tools, we transform them into something new. The NIGMA fleet's mighty ships began falling from the sky, their once impervious hulls now failing against the simplest things: water, sand, rust, and human ingenuity. High Admiral Rex realized too late what the humans had tried to warn them about from the beginning. Sometimes the most dangerous weapons are the ones you never see coming. General Ann Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth's first deep space carrier, the Terra Dawn. Built in secret beneath the Antarctic ice, it combined human innovation with reversed-engineered alien tech. The ship looked nothing like the sleek NIGMA vessels. It was blocky, practical, and painted in simple gray, just the way they wanted it to look. "Status report," she ordered, watching as her fleet of 50 ships emerged from Earth's hidden shipyards. "All ships ready, General," her communications officer reported. "The NIGMA fleet is still trying to repair their damaged vessels in Mars orbit. They don't see us coming." Morrison nodded. After the devastating defeat near Earth, the remaining NIGMA ships had retreated to Mars, calling for reinforcements. They still hadn't figured out that humans had been monitoring their communications for decades. "Begin Operation Trojan," she commanded. "Let's show them what happens when you push humans too far." The Earth fleet moved silently through space, using the same trick that had worked so well before, looking primitive and harmless. Their ships appeared on NIGMA scanners as chunks of space debris, their energy signatures masked by simple technology that the aliens had never thought to look for. On the NIGMA command ship, High Admiral Rex was trying to explain his failure to the Empire's Council. "These humans, they're not what we thought. Their weapons are still primitive by our standards," one council member interrupted. "You simply failed to." An alarm cut through the transmission. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "multiple objects approaching." Rex smiled. "Ah, good. Our reinforcements are here." "Sir, these don't match NIGMA signatures. They're just debris. Space junk." Rex's smile vanished as he remembered how humans had hidden their weapons before. Ray shields, full power. Now. But it was too late. The space junk suddenly changed course with impossible precision. General Morrison's voice boomed through their communications. "You attacked our home. Did you think we wouldn't learn how to attack yours?" The Earth ships dropped their camouflage. They weren't beautiful or elegant like NIGMA vessels. They looked like they were cobbled together from scrap metal and spare parts. And that's exactly what made them so dangerous. "You see," Morrison continued as her fleet opened fire, "humans have always been good at making weapons from whatever we have at hand. Those supply ships you've been sending through this sector, we've been studying them. Those trade routes you thought were secret, we mapped them all. The NIGMA ships tried to form a defensive line, but Earth's vessels didn't fight like anything they'd seen before. Some ships rammed straight through their energy shields, simple kinetic impacts that their advanced defenses weren't designed to stop. Others released clouds of what looked like ordinary metal dust, but when it touched NIGMA ships, it transformed their hull metal into glass. Impossible," Rex shouted as his fleet began to fall apart. "These aren't proper weapons. This isn't how space combat works." "That's your problem," Morrison replied. "You think there are rules to survival. Humans know better. We use everything. We adapt anything. And now we're taking the fight to you." The Earth fleet split into smaller groups, each attacking with different tactics. Some ships launched what looked like old-style nuclear missiles, but when the NIGMA shot them down, they split into thousands of tiny robots that attached to their hulls. Others simply flew close and started broadcasting Earth music on all frequencies, scrambling the NIGMA's sensitive communication systems. "Your reinforcements won't arrive in time," Morrison informed them as the battle turned into a rout. "We've already disrupted your supply lines. Those primitive communication satellites you ignored, they've been mapping your entire empire. Those cargo ships you let pass, each one carried our infiltration tech." As the NIGMA fleet crumbled, High Admiral Rex finally understood. Humans hadn't just been defending Earth. They'd been preparing to take the war to the stars. And they'd been doing it right under the Empire's nose, using the one advantage their enemies would never understand: the power of looking harmless. News of Earth's victory spread through the NIGMA Empire like a wildfire. The mighty empire that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years was being defeated by what they had called a primitive species. Captain Robert West and his special operations team were making sure everyone heard about it. West's ship, the Shadow Step, didn't look like a warship at all. It appeared to be a simple merchant vessel, the kind that carried goods between NIGMA worlds. But inside, it housed Earth's most advanced stealth technology and a crew trained to spread chaos through the Empire. Another successful broadcast, his communications officer reported. They had just hijacked the main communication networks of 3 NIGMA colony worlds, showing them footage of Earth's victories. The colonial governments are starting to ask questions about why they weren't warned about Earth's true capabilities. West nodded, watching the reactions on their monitors. The NIGMA Empire had built its power on a reputation of invincibility. Now that reputation was crumbling, and its member species were beginning to wonder if they'd been lied to all along. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "large fleet approaching. Looks like they finally figured out we're behind the broadcasts." West smiled. "Good. Time for Phase 2. Launch the drones." From the Shadow Step's cargo holds, thousands of tiny drones emerged. Each one was about the size of a baseball, painted with the same dark metal coating the NIGMA used on their ships. As the NIGMA fleet approached, the drones scattered among their ships. "You think you can catch us?" West transmitted to the approaching fleet. "Let me show you another human trick we call hiding in plain sight." The drones activated, each one projecting the sensor signature of a full-sized Earth warship. Suddenly, the NIGMA fleet's sensors showed them surrounded by hundreds of Earth vessels appearing out of nowhere. "Impossible," the NIGMA commander transmitted. "This is an illusion." "Maybe," West replied. "But can you be sure? Are you willing to risk being wrong? You've seen what just one of our ships can do." The NIGMA fleet hesitated. That was all West needed. While they were distracted by the drone illusions, his team had already infiltrated their communication systems. When they broadcast their next message, it went to every NIGMA ship and colony in the sector. To all members of the NIGMA Empire, West's voice echoed across the stars. "Your leaders told you humans were primitive. They said Earth would be an easy conquest. They were wrong. Look at what their pride has cost you." The transmission showed scenes from every battle, NIGMA ships falling to Earth's clever tactics, their mighty technologies turned against them by human ingenuity. But it also showed something else: Earth's mercy. Images of NIGMA crews being rescued from disabled ships, of human doctors treating enemy wounded. "We never wanted this war," West continued. "We tried to warn your leaders. Now we offer you a choice. Stay loyal to an empire that lied to you, that threw away your lives for pride, or accept that the galaxy is changing. Earth doesn't want to rule you. We just want to be left in peace." In the NIGMA council chamber, alarms were sounding. Reports were coming in from across the empire, colony worlds demanding answers, member species calling for new leadership, military commanders refusing to send more ships against Earth. The council leader's metallic face showed real fear as he turned to his advisors. How did they do this? How did they turn our own people against us? The answer came from an unexpected source. A young NIGMA scientist who had been studying human history. "They didn't turn anyone against you," she said. "They just showed everyone the truth. That's always been humanity's most powerful weapon, their ability to change how others think, not just how they fight." As the NIGMA Empire began to tear itself apart from within, Captain West sent one final message to Earth. Phase 2 complete. The Empire is breaking. They're starting to understand what we tried to tell them from the beginning. Never underestimate a human's ability to surprise you. The mighty NIGMA Council chamber looked different now. Where once only the highest-ranking NIGMA officials had sat, now representatives from Earth stood as equals. Admiral James Parker, who had tried to warn them at the very beginning, led the human delegation. The NIGMA council leader, his metallic skin dulled with stress, addressed the gathered assembly. For 10,000 years, the NIGMA Empire ruled the galaxy. We thought we had seen everything. We were wrong. Parker watched silently as the council leader continued. Around the chamber, representatives from various NIGMA colony worlds listened intently. Many of them had already reached out to Earth secretly, seeking alliances. In just 6 months, the council leader said, humans have done what no species has ever done. They defeated our fleets. They turned our own technology against us. They showed our people truths we had hidden for centuries. He turned to face Parker directly. You tried to warn us. We should have listened. Parker stepped forward. Yes, you should have. But now we have a chance to build something better than conquest. Something better than empire. The chamber's great display screen activated, showing images from the war. But these weren't images of battles. Instead, they showed human doctors treating NIGMA wounded, Earth ships rescuing stranded NIGMA crews, and joint teams already working together to share knowledge. Humans are different, Parker explained. We don't want to rule you. We don't want to replace your empire with ours. We want to learn from you, trade with you, grow with you, but as equals, not as rulers and subjects. From her seat among the Earth delegation, General Morrison watched the NIGMA representatives carefully. She saw hope in their expressions, even through their metallic features. The old empire had ruled through fear and force. Humans were offering something new, partnership. The terms are simple, Parker continued. The NIGMA Empire will transition to a confederation of equal worlds. Earth will share its technological innovations. Yes, including how we beat you, in exchange for access to galactic trade routes and knowledge. Every world gets a voice. Every species gets a vote. The council leader looked troubled. But our empire, our legacy, will be greater than ever, Parker replied. Instead of being remembered as conquerors who fell, you'll be remembered as the leaders who helped build a new age of cooperation. That's a legacy worth having. Captain West, standing at the chamber's security station, smiled as he saw more and more NIGMA representatives nodding in agreement. His psychological warfare had worked perfectly. They had shown the Empire's people a better way. Dr. Walker, who had helped create so many of Earth's surprising weapons, stepped forward with a data crystal. As a sign of good faith, this contains the blueprints for our planetary shield technology. Better than yours, as you discovered. Consider it humanity's first contribution to our new partnership. The council chamber erupted in excited murmurs. The NIGMA had never encountered a species that offered friendship after victory. They had never imagined defeat could lead to something positive. The council leader took the crystal with shaking hands. You beat us with weapons we never saw coming, he said. And now you defeat us again, with kindness we never expected. Parker smiled. That's the final lesson about humans. We're not just good at fighting. We're good at making friends, at building things, at finding new ways forward. We warned you not to cross us in war. Now we invite you to join us in peace. The signing ceremony that followed was broadcast across the galaxy. The NIGMA Empire formally became the Galactic Confederation, with Earth as a founding member. As Parker signed the treaty, he looked up at the council leader. Next time a primitive species warns you about something, he said with a slight smile, maybe listen first and shoot later. The council leader's metallic face managed what might have been its first real smile in centuries. Indeed, though I suspect no one will make that mistake again, the galaxy will remember. Never underestimate humans. They'll surprise you every time.